All right, here we are, the final chapter of our journey into AI and you. So far, we've dug into how our digital breadcrumbs become signals, and then we looked at how AI uses those signals to decide what we see. But now, it's time to pull the camera back and look at the really big picture. We're moving past the how to ask why, and, more importantly, what's next. So let's kick things off with a question that really gets to the heart of everything. You know that feeling, right? When an ad pops up that's so specific, it's a little bit spooky. But think about it. If an AI is smart enough to predict what you're about to buy, what else can it predict? Our health? Our politics? What about our weakest moments? You could say we are officially living in the age of prediction. We've talked about the mechanics behind it all, but now we're going to get into the consequences. What this all means for our privacy, for the choices we make, and really for our whole society. And this right here is the fundamental shift. It's huge. We've left behind the era of reactive persuasion. You look at a pair of shoes, and ads for those shoes follow you around for a week. Now, we're deep into an era of predictive assistance, where these systems are trying to figure out what you need before you even realize you need it. Okay, so a totally fair question is, if these systems are so powerful, why aren't they just, sucking up every last bit of our data into one giant profile? Well, the truth is actually a lot more interesting than the whole total surveillance idea. It's not just laws holding things back, it's a whole series of deliberate engineering choices. So the first tool they use is something called a speed governor. And this idea is actually borrowed from old school steam engines. They had a device that would literally keep the engine from spinning itself to pieces. In the world of AI, it's code that basically tells the system, hey, you can't go past this point, preventing it from making wild connections or touching data it shouldn't. And next up, we have data silos. Now, usually silos are a bad thing, right? They keep teams from talking to each other. But for privacy, they're absolutely essential. Think of it like the watertight compartments on a big ship. If one area gets a hole, you can seal it off so the whole ship doesn't sink. It's the same idea here. You keep your health data separate from your shopping data to contain any risks. And the third piece of this puzzle is the circuit breaker. It works just like the one in your house. It's an automated safety switch that's always watching. And if it sees some weird high-risk pattern, like an AI suddenly trying to mash two totally unrelated sets of data together, it trips. It just shuts the whole process down before a privacy breach can even happen. So when you put it all together, the governors, the silos, the circuit breakers, and the idea of only collecting the data you really need, you start to see this really important trend. Companies are actually building restraint into their systems. And it's not just because they're nice guys, it's because having too much data has become a massive liability. These things are basically a form of corporate self-preservation. But, okay, even with all those safeguards in place, we're still left with this really tricky ethical gray area. Where's the line between a helpful suggestion and a manipulative push? When does a friendly nudge become a digital shove?
This slide just nails it. The real difference comes down to one word: alignment. Is the AI acting like a helpful digital butler trying to make your life easier because its goals are aligned with yours? Or is it more like a digital pickpocket, looking for your weak spots to exploit for its own benefit? One is serving you, the other is serving the system. So how does that manipulation actually work? Well, it usually goes after what psychologists call our System 1 brain. That's our fast, emotional, gut instinct brain. By using these sketchy, dark patterns, like a fake countdown timer to create urgency or telling you there's only one left in stock, it tries to completely bypass our slower, more logical System 2 brain, pushing us to make a snap decision. And this is where it gets really murky. Because AI can guess not just what you like, but also how you're feeling based on how you're scrolling or typing. So that helpful little suggestion you get at 2 in the afternoon when you're sharp and focused might become downright predatory at 2 in the morning, when the system can tell you're tired, stressed, and way more likely to buy something on impulse. Okay, let's zoom out, forget the individual for a second, and think about society. When you have billions of these personalized algorithms all running at once, they do more than just influence us one by one. They actually start to warp our shared reality. It's not a clear reflection anymore. It's more like a funhouse mirror, It blows some things way out of proportion and makes others shrink into nothing. So let's just walk through how this distortion actually happens. It all starts with something super simple. You're scrolling, and a headline that's either sensational or just plain outrageous catches your eye. So you click. Seems pretty harmless, right? But the algorithm, well, its only job is to keep you on the page. It has no idea if the content is true or false, good or bad. It just sees your click as a massive signal that says, ooh, they liked that. So the only logical thing for it to do is to find more stuff just like it. And so you click again. And with every single click, you're just validating the AI's guess. It's kind of like a needle carving a groove into an old vinyl record. The more you click on that one type of thing, the deeper and deeper that groove gets, and the harder it is for the needle to ever play a different song. And over time, that little feedback loop can trap you inside a personalized reality bubble. Your information diet gets narrower and narrower, more and more extreme, all because an algorithm is just doing its job of optimizing for your clicks. It's not evil, it's just math. Now, it's probably a good idea to clarify two terms that get thrown around a lot: filter bubble and echo chamber. A filter bubble is what the algorithm creates for you. It's invisible, filtering out things you might need to see without you even knowing it. An echo chamber is more social. That's when you choose to only listen to people who already agree with you. The scary thing is, AI has a knack for making both of them happen, faster and stronger than ever before. And this power to shape our reality has, of course, completely changed the game for advertising. The way brands persuade us has evolved. It's gone from a sledgehammer to a scalpel, a tool that's so precise, it's practically invisible. You can really see that whole evolution right here. Back in the 90s, ads were all about context. You'd see a car ad on a car website. Makes sense. Then, in the 2010s, it became about targeting people based on who they were. But now we're in the era of targeting intent, trying to advertise for something you're probably gonna do next. So where is this all headed? Well, the ad as we know it, that little box on the side of a web page, it might just fade away completely. Instead, we'll see things like Agentic Commerce, where a brand markets its product directly to your personal AI assistant. Or multimodal AI, where your smart glasses literally see you're low on milk and just add it to your list. And maybe even sponsored logic, where a brand pays to become the default answer when you ask your AI for a recommendation. So, after all of this, the tech, the ethics, the crazy future, what does it all teach us about AI itself? What is this powerful, kind of strange new thing that we've brought into the world? For me, it boils down to a few key things. First, prediction is not the same as understanding. An AI can predict you'll get married based on your search history, but it has zero concept of what love actually is. It's just a pattern matcher. Second, data is really just frozen behavior. It's a snapshot of the past, and when we train AI on it, we risk locking in all of our past mistakes and biases. And finally, and this might be the most important one, AI proves that intelligence can exist without any consciousness or wisdom or morality. And this is where we'll leave it. We have built these incredible, magnificent prediction machines. They are statistical engines, pure and simple. They're not historians, they're not philosophers. All they know is the probability of who you were yesterday. They have absolutely no idea who you can choose to be tomorrow. And that choice, that's the one variable no algorithm can ever truly own. And it's the one thing we should never, ever give away.